Okay, I'd like to thank everyone for attending the Committee of Adjustment meeting, and I'd like to remind everyone as we get underway that this meeting will be in person and online through Zoom and is being recorded. Everyone online will be muted with the exception of committee members and staff. All comments and questions are to be directed through the chair from committee members, staff, and the public. I'd like to remind committee members that they must speak into the microphone so everyone online and in person can hear you. For those attendees that are online, your video picture will not be displayed. You'll be muted. You will not be able to unmute yourself during an application that you've not requested to attend unless you raise your hand. At the beginning of each application, I will call the application forward. The owner or applicant in attendance may come to the table to your right to speak with the committee. This microphone is live and you must speak into the microphone. If the owner or applicant is online, you will be unmuted. Excuse me. The committee will ask for comments from the public during each application. Please provide your name and address for the public record. All comments and questions should be directed to the chair and only speak when it is your turn. If you are in person and would like to speak to an application, one at a time, you may approach the podium and speak. This microphone will be live. If you're on the video portion of the Zoom meeting and you'd like to speak and your microphone is muted, please click on the raise hand button located at the bottom of your screen. Staff will notify me that you wish to speak. If you're attending by telephone and you wish to speak, please dial *9 to raise your hand, which will signal staff that you wish to speak. Once a decision has been made concerning your application, you're welcome to leave the hearing while the committee continues with the next application. Members in attendance today are Bruce Gregg, Paul Veenstra, Todd Robertson, and myself, Jim Keel. Or Paul. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. Paul isn't here. Our staff in attendance are Senior Planner Lindsay Lambert, Planner Kyle Peel, and Secretary Treasurer Amanda Werner-McKellar. So the first on the item on the agenda is the adoption of the agenda. Any members have any changes that wish to make or comments?
None here.
None here, sir.
Neither do I. So I need a mover and a seconder. I have pretty well down to it. Moved by Todd, seconded by Bruce. That the agenda be adopted. Moved by Todd, seconded by Bruce, that the agenda be adopted as circulated. Ready to vote?
Bruce, yes.
Yes.
I am also carried. Second item on the agenda is the adoption of the minutes from our November 25th meeting. Any committee members, any changes?
None here.
None here, sir.
Nor do I. So need a mover or seconder again. Moved by Bruce, seconded by Todd. Moved by Bruce, seconded by Todd, that the minutes of the November 25th, 2025 hearing of the Committee of Adjustment be adopted as circulated. Ready to vote?
Bruce, yes.
Yes.
I am also carried. Any member today with declaration of interest, pecuniary or otherwise?
I have none.
None here.
Nor do I. Need one. So first application today is D13-2025-044-681 Thousand Island Parkway. And Amanda, would you give us your take on this?
Yes, and we have the agent available online for the discussion. The application is requesting a permission to expand the gross floor area of the existing legal non-complying single detached dwelling. The existing dwelling is legal non-complying with respect to the minimum 30-meter setback from the high watermark of the St. Lawrence River and the minimum 30-meter front yard provision of the shoreline residential zone. The existing 95.6 square meter single detached dwelling is proposed to be expanded with a second floor addition totaling 7.4 square meters. Further, it is proposed to expand an existing covered deck with an addition totaling 3.2 square meters. The property is currently developed with a single detached dwelling, a detached deck, and an accessory structure and a marine facility.
Thanks, Amanda. Kyle, would you give us your report, please?
Thank you, Chair, and through you. So as noted, this application is requesting a permission to expand an existing legal non-complying dwelling with a second floor addition and a covered attached deck. The second floor addition is proposed to be constructed within the footprint of the existing structure in the northeast corner. and the covered deck is proposed to be constructed in place of an existing uncovered attached deck. As such, the footprint is not proposed to expand beyond the existing structure through the approval of this application. The proposed development will encroach no closer to the high water mark than the closest point of the existing dwelling. The proposed expansion is understood to be limited. No undue adverse impacts are anticipated beyond what currently exists, and the scale of the proposed structure is in appropriate proportion to the existing legal non-complying dwelling. In conclusion, the Conservation Authority has submitted comments noting no concerns based on their consideration of natural hazards, and the application has been found to be consistent with the applicable policies and regulations of the land use planning documents of the township. Planning staff recommend approval of this application per the details and conditions enclosed within the staff report. Thank you.
Amanda, any public comments other received?
We received comments from the Conservation Authority with no objections, and we received comments from the Ministry of Transportation, just noting that the footprint of the existing structure is not changing or coming closer to the highway corridor, and therefore the ministry will not require further review or permits for the application. And we've not received any further written public comments.
Thanks, Amanda. Is there anyone in the audience in attendance or online that wishes to comment to this application?
We have no one in the audience and no one online looking to speak to the application.
Committee members, I'll start with Bruce. Any questions or
No, I have no questions or concerns.
Todd?
No, no questions or concerns. The review provided answered any that I had.
No, I don't either, other than to wonder why they're not putting in for an elevator. I wouldn't want to climb them steps too many times. Okay, we need a mover and a seconder to move this along. Moved by Bruce, seconded by Todd. That application D13-2025-044 be approved subject to the conditions as included in the planner's report and the decision of the committee. And we're ready to vote.
Bruce, yes.
Yes.
And I am also carried. Second on the agenda today is D13-2025-045-285 Wallace Island. Amanda, would you give it your take?
Yes, and we have the agent online as well. The application is requesting a permission to expand the size of the existing legal non-complying single detached dwelling. The existing dwelling is legal non-complying with respect to the minimum 30-meter setback from the high watermark of the St. Lawrence River and the minimum 30-meter front yard provision of the island residential zone. The existing 104.6 square meter uncovered deck attached to the dwelling is proposed to be replaced with a 122.7 square meter uncovered attached deck. The property is currently developed with a single detached dwelling, a sleeping cabin, an accessory structure, and a marine facility. Of note, a site visit was not undertaken due to the seasonal constraints with accessing the property by water at this time of year. However, staff completed a detailed review of the pictures of the property submitted with the application to complete their assessment and inform the recommendation.
Kyle, would you give us your report, please?
Thank you, Chair, and through you. So as noted, this application is requesting a permission to expand an existing legal non-complying dwelling with the replacement and expansion of the existing uncovered attached deck. It is proposed to permit the attached uncovered deck to be located on the west side of the existing dwelling, and the structure will encroach no closer to the high water mark than the closest point of the existing deck. The proposed expansion is understood to be limited. No undue adverse impacts are anticipated beyond what currently exists, and the scale of the proposed structure is in appropriate proportion to the existing legal non-complying dwelling. In conclusion, the Conservation Authority have submitted comments noting no concerns based on their consideration of natural hazards, and the application has been found to be consistent with the applicable policies and regulations of the land use planning documents of the township. Planning staff recommend approval of this application per the details and conditions enclosed within the staff report. Thank you.
Thanks, Kyle. Amanda, any other public comments?
We just received the comments from the Conservation Authority with no objections, and we have not received any further written public comments.
Okay, is there anyone in attendance in the audience or online that wishes to speak to the application?
We have no one online and no one in the audience looking to speak to the application.
Okay, sir. Bruce, any questions?
I have no questions or concerns.
Todd?
I have just a confirmation I'm requesting. I thank you for the pictures, but to be honest, found them a little confusing. So can I just confirm through you, Chair, either with you, Kyle, or with the representative online? We're just talking about the two structures at the front because there were pictures provided for other areas of the property. So it's really just the two structures at the front that are in the diagram. Those are the only two that are being considered.
That's correct, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That's all I want to confirm. Thank you.
Okay, nope, and I have no concerns. So we need a mover and a seconder again, moved by Todd, seconded by Bruce. That application D13-2025-045 be approved, subject to conditions as included in the planner's report and the decision of the committee. And we're ready to vote.
Bruce, yes.
Yes.
And I'm also carried. This today. Right. We are.
Okay, the next item on the agenda is the discussion concerning small accessory structures within the 30 meters of the high water mark. As you are aware, two of our committee members are not in attendance, so I'm going to open this up to the committee to decide if you would like to have the conversation now or if you would like to postpone it.
I would like to suggest postponement.
Sorry, it's just a discussion, so.
Yeah, and I certainly agree with postponing it. I just wonder if I could ask a couple questions while the topic is on the table, per se, for lack of a better, hopefully very quickly.
Yeah, we can definitely have a discussion and then we'll postpone any decision and have a further discussion at our meeting in January.
I would definitely want the other two members to be present for any sort of final decisions. So my questions are, I think, pretty straightforward. Just want to make sure I understood the documentation that was provided correctly. So the recommendation, including the legal opinion to attach a development agreement to the title, that process versus a site plan agreement, that process would commence at this level or prior to an application being made? I'm just trying to understand that whole process piece. Through you, Chair.
Through you.
Yeah.
Development agreement would be a condition of a minor variance approval.
Okay. Okay. So it would be
So it would come,
part of the application, it would come after.
it'd be a condition. So someone submits an application for minor variance, staff circulates, reviews that, brings a report forward to the committee, makes a recommendation to the committee. So a component of staff's recommendation would include requiring a development agreement as part of the decision of the committee.
And then the committee would
And so what,
choose to
yeah.
approve or not approve based on the recommendation that's put forward by
yeah,
by
as the
staff.
current process, it's
Right.
just that the recommendation would potentially include the requirement for a development agreement where we have policy that dictates that.
Gotcha. Okay. Thank you for that. Clarifies that for me. The other, sorry.
No.
I'm moving on to another subject. So if you have a question around that.
Question for Marnie. My understanding that there would be the same fee for the development agreement as currently for site plan control. Is that what my understanding is?
That's correct. So the fee bylaw requires a fee of $550 for a development agreement, which is the same fee for a minor site plan control application.
Yes, and then how about the legal fees?
The legal fees are in addition to that, so those would be the costs of registration on title.
Thank you.
Todd, do you have something else?
My other question has to do with the recommendation that that the committee recommend council direct staff to include in the bylaw review with respect to what structures could be permitted within the 30-meter setback. In that recommendation to council, can the committee or would it be appropriate for the committee to offer an opinion on what some of the changes to the bylaw could be, or is that something that that wouldn't happen, or would that happen as a matter of course in the bylaw, the review of the bylaws?
Through you, I think it's helpful if the committee has specific things that they'd like to see considered. So the process in terms of updating the bylaw, obviously, should the committee proceed as recommended or add additional content to it, would be that we will be going out with an RFP at some point in the new year and retaining a consultant. So there's certain items that we're going to have the consultant specifically look at. And if this becomes a focused item in terms of what could be permitted within the 30-meter setback, if there's suggestions or additional information, that could certainly be provided for consideration in that process.
Thank you.
Yeah, the only question, I have a question, but I think I'd rather leave it till January. It had to do, with the townships wanting to have the roads fit for the largest fire truck and stuff, but maybe we'll leave that till January. Okay, yeah. No, I had nothing else.
Just
No
for
other questions.
Sorry for clarifying. What is the date in January, Amanda?
20-something.
It's January 27th.
I may not be able to be present for that meeting. That's my only thought.
We still have enough time now that if we wanted to move the meeting, we have that discretion to be able to move it if the committee thought or wanted to. In which we can have that conversation outside of this. Like I can send an email to see who's all available because it's at my discretion to call the meeting. So I can do that when we need to. So.
Okay.
The only thing I would add is if there are any questions, because if we're taking more time to think about this before have further discussions, if there's any questions or comments, please send them my way so that we can be prepared to address them at the next meeting.
One question, I guess I was going to wait till January, but since you're suggesting, questions, I'm wondering site plan versus development plan or whatever it's called, what the difference is to the property owner, like how they differ. I don't need the answer now, but if you want, great.
It's an easy one. So there are two different sections under the Planning Act. So site plan control is regulated through a site plan control bylaw that is a council approved bylaw. And the Planning Act establishes what we can require site plan for. So there's specific official plan policies that talk about where site plan should apply adjacent to water bodies, if it's a commercial development, different things. A site plan control agreement is a more complex agreement. There's a lot more to the body of the agreement because we may require insurance, we may require securities. There's different things that we might require because site plan can be a bigger process. It can apply to bigger things. A development agreement is more simplified agreement in terms of it's a couple of pages. It specifically would only reference the conditions of approval that are required by the committee, such as the private lane requirements in terms of acknowledging the liability of the township. Let's say there's an additional study. If there's a property that needs an archaeological study before a building permit is issued, that's something that we could include in a development agreement so that that's registered on title so that say somebody's purchasing the property, they can be made aware of that requirement before that's something necessary before a building permit is issued. Or if there's an environmental impact study required because somebody wants to build within a certain setback or proximity to a wetland, all the development agreement would include is whatever the recommendations are out of that study and reference that study. So it doesn't have the same scope. It's a much more focused document. It's simpler. And that was one of the questions that I did ask the lawyer in obtaining this opinion in terms of which is the better tool for us to use. So even though we can use site plan control in some situations, the lawyer's opinion is that it's preferable or it's more appropriate given the nature of the approval that a development agreement be used.
Thank you.
Top, anything else? Nope. So Marnie, then basically it would be a better, simpler alternative to a site plan control. Yeah, less onerous.
It's a more focused agreement. We're talking about 2 pages versus say 10 or 11 that has a lot more legal jargon and
Yep.
Basically, they both accomplish the same thing, but the development agreement is much simpler, easier to understand, a lot less legalese.
Very good. Anything else? Lady?
Nope, that is it for the discussions for today. So we can proceed to adjournment unless anybody has anything else.
By Bruce, seconded by Todd. The committee of adjustment will adjourn to meet again at the call of the secretary. All in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
I am also carried. Thanks.
Thank you, everyone.